Hello, everyone. How are you this fine evening? So we are, we're just creating, I guess, a background for this character now. Um, this is the first test with StreamYards with my new um thing, my new router. I was just on Misfit Corner Comics, and I cannot. They ended up having 5 people on near the end, and I could hear everybody clearly. So that means any shows that I'm on, mine, hopefully, especially with StreamYards, I'll be able to hear everybody talking no matter what and hear what everybody's saying. So, that is, I think, a great thing to have. So let's see. Um, so now, just doing, like I said, I'm just gonna put a background. I'm probably gonna use this. I'm gonna use a 3D background here. I'll put some stuff behind it. So there's that, which I think makes it look pretty good. I think all we'll do really at this point, although you would think that rope, I might try and actually see whether I can get this to go. I don't want it. Okay, there. Now you can see. Let's see. There, you don't see anything off into the thing. So that's like really good right there. I think I'll just save that like that, and we're done with that. And bring up a new character to color. I'm still gonna put her name on somewhere, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. I can't remember having to do anything else except put a background on. I'm not gonna create uh, a PNG yet. I'm just gonna create it as a thing. Put studio file format, especially till I get the name on. Nobody watching tonight yet. Oh, well. So let's. Oh, probably gonna have to go to a different folder to grab stuff. Because I think I've done everything in this one up to date. Characters, so. I don't think I finished She Shields yet, so. No, I definitely didn't finish this, so. Guess this is what we're working on tonight now. I hope everybody can hear me too. Not that there's anybody watching yet. So we'll get that right there. Well, of course, we need to plug in our tablet, otherwise. I'm going to put the link right in Metal's thing because I'm not sure whether he checks. Is it not going right to his thing? I'm not sure whether he'll check. Okay. I'm just checking on. I'm just trying to get a few people on. Add some atmosphere. Okay, so we got somebody here watching. Sorry, not doing much there. We'll get on to this. Forget about everything else. If you're out there, hello. Hey, Fly Fox, how are you? Well, I'm told I sound better. Let's see, we got somebody in the back. We got the sleeve stack himself, Lorenzo.
Well, hey, Rick. Good to see
Hey,
you.
how are you? So, how are you doing, Lorenzo?
Doing pretty well.
Oh, hold on, I don't have my earphones in. I didn't hear after I said, asked you how you were. I plugged my earphones in and did not fit. You there, Lorenzo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got Fly Fox in the audience at the moment.
Oh,
Listening.
Playfax Pro?
Yeah.
Oh,
So what do you?
I can't see the chat on here for some reason today.
Okay, that's
That's
weird.
interesting.
Are you clicked on the comments on the side?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, here we go.
oh, yeah. I guess it's delayed from YouTube. I've got the YouTube one up as well, so
Oh, I see.
I'm.
And Ola Playfax Pro.
So what's new with you, Lorenzo?
Um, I've been trying to stream more lately. I was getting into some kind of silly arguments on Twitter when I didn't have a laptop, and now that
Yeah.
I have one again, I'm getting back to streaming. I'm gonna have to plug this thing in, but that won't
Yeah.
interrupt the show.
No. Fly Fox says, long time no talk. Lorenzo, long time no talk. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure whether you got my email about a week or so ago, but Lorenzo, but I might end up having to refund everybody.
Oh, I heard something about. I saw that somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
That must have been the email.
yeah, I sent an email and I did do an update on the thing. It's just because I have yet to get my money off of Indiegogo, and at the moment it doesn't look like I'm going to.
That is so weird. Oh, hi, King's Kid.
I don't know what it is. I've given them all the correct information, but somehow with their new system, it is not going through for me. And they refused, as far as I'm concerned, they refused to try and figure out, contact the bank and all that. They're telling me to contact the bank and figure out why. But you know what? Or make sure the information is correct. I've made sure the information's correct for since I began the campaign technically,
Are you
because I know it.
Are you thinking maybe using like oh, what the heck is it called? Like PayPal or something instead?
Yeah,
Just
yeah. I'm. Well, I've thought of using Kickstarter, but I'm trying to find out how they do things, and I think they might do things the same way. So I'm thinking of setting up something on my website, a page where you can go and click, and you just end up paying through PayPal. And for those that don't have PayPal, they can just email me. Email me, tell me what they want, and do an email transfer. Of funds
I
from their
hope
bank.
Indiegogo isn't going to be like still charging you some sort of fee for using it if they're not going to.
Oh no, they can't. As far as I know, as far as I know, they can't, because I'm going to be refunding everybody's money.
Okay, yeah, well, that's a shame because it seems like it might be more convenient. Well, especially since
Oh
you raised all that money to go through them, but
yeah,
it's not convenient if they won't give you the money. Obviously,
yeah. It's definitely more convenient using them, and having the platform and being exposed other people being exposed, and everybody can see the money being raised, and they know I'm not, trying to rip them off. But
Yeah.
in that email that I sent out and update that I sent out through Indiegogo, I had a screenshot that's showing I have not got the money, and when I finally decide to return everybody's money, which will probably be at the end of July. I've given them to the end of July, and I've said I'll take a screenshot showing that I haven't got the money again.
That is so weird. I wonder.
Yeah.
You said they changed around their system, or
Yeah,
no?
the way that they give out money, they changed it back in December of 2019. So
I hadn't heard anything about this before. And I've got a number of friends who are using that, but they don't tell me each and every aspect of how Indiegogo works.
yeah,
I mainly just hear about what books they have, and hear little things
yeah.
here and there about
Well,
whether
unless it affects them when they're not getting their money, they
yeah,
don't
that's true.
know.
Yeah,
They don't know. They don't care how they're getting their money, just as long as they're getting their
yeah,
money.
it's like because I'm more likely to hear about Indiegogo versus Kickstarter, and whether or not certain book did better on one than the other, than I am to hear about the financial aspects of a campaign.
Yeah. Fly Fox says this makes me sad for you, Rick. Yeah, it's a bit sad, but I'm gonna, maybe I have to do everything right on my website from now on. And I like that, but I hate it at the same time, because that was my plan eventually, just to be able to do everything right from my website, and have prices a lot lower too. While I'm gaining money, yeah, prices are probably going to be a little bit higher, but hopefully within a year, all my prices are down to like maybe $5 or $4 a book, plus shipping.
Oh, that would be nice. I'm trying to encourage. Creators to do something different than just constantly using these fundraising platforms, because it just doesn't. Something about it just doesn't seem sustainable in the long run. It seems like a good thing, like if somebody's got some sort of like a dream, to create something. They always dreamt of creating something, and if they actually give them their money, like Indiegogo or Kickstarter or whatever gives the creator their money, then that would be a great thing, But like maybe for just like kind of a one-time thing. But to every time somebody has a comic book, put it on
Yeah. Well,
crowdfunding. It
charging.
doesn't seem sustainable for some reason.
Well, it's when you're charging $20-$30 a book, and then you're charging, just as much for the shipping of that book. And maybe that's a little thing, but here in Canada, I want to get, say, I don't know, any of the books out there, like I tried to get, I forget what the last one is, but when the shipping's as much as the book, if not more, it's like,
is some of that going
yeah.
Is some of that the problem of Indiegogo or Kickstarter? I mean, are they adding a big fee to it?
No, it's not. I'm not sure. I wouldn't say that has. I don't think that has anything to do with Kickstarter or whatever, because they only take like 5% of whatever you make.
Oh, okay. So it's not like they're taking like a quarter of your profits or something.
No.
That would be like, yeah, that would be ridiculous. But it's still, I don't know. It's just my understanding of crowdfunding was that was just supposed to be like, I don't know, like, let's say it'd be something. I just didn't seem like it would be kind of a. Seemed like it's being used like a permanent thing, and even by like creators. These are creators whom I really respect. It just seems kind of odd though that people just continue to use it though. Like once
Well,
they're established.
it gets you a lot of money, like, look at Ethan, he's got $1 million for this book, but, he is also charging $20 a book, although, it's what, 48 pages, or he might be charging more. I'm not sure, but, I've seen them charge more.
I think he had a lot of pages in Cyberfrog. Now, some people would label those as filler pages. Some of the pages as filler. But I think he ended up like some sort of thing where he kept tacking on pages for.
Yeah.
I don't know his current book though. If he's got like something current on there, because I don't really follow him anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's Cyberfrog #2 out. I'm not sure. And it's right. It's over $1 million. I'm not sure, but that's over several months. Let's see. Scarabit says nobody crowdfunding comics cares about the sustainability because comics are a dead medium. Crowdfunding is about milking as much money as you can off people while you can. Well, probably most people.
I really like Tim. I really like Tim Lim. He will have stuff on. I think Tim Lim and JDA, they'll put stuff on there, and then later on they might like have a version for Amazon. And the Amazon thing, having it in more than one. A lot of them will. I think both of them will use both Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and then they'll use Amazon, and they'll get different audiences that way. So maybe maybe I can understand, I guess, getting different audiences by using crowdfunding. I just think that much sense to me. Like,
I don't want to milk as much money as I can out of everybody. I want to grow an audience. Yeah, I need to get a little bit more money than I will, per customer, right now. But once I have, say I know I have 5,000 customers that are going to buy my book, then I can reduce, how much I'm charging per book because, I know I can go and print, off of 5,000 books, for a lot cheaper or whatever. I think you get what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I think is interesting is now I don't have a Patreon account, so I haven't bought any of their books. But there's something I think they're called like Ashcan Pub or Ashcan Publications or something. And I think Skinny from the Needle Mover Society is involved with that, and a bunch of other people. And I think what they're doing is making like maybe more like manga size stuff on like they're printing it themselves. And I think that could be an interesting thing in the future. Obviously, not everybody's got like a professional printer, but I'd like to see like more zines and stuff like that. Obviously, it depends on the comic book. Some comic books would be like standard size, are meant to be standard size, but it'd be kind of neat to see kind of like a little underground, zine type thing too. Some of those come back into fashion, like back in the punk rock days. I think punk rock. I think there were these zines that were. I don't know. I didn't see that many in my town. I live in a small town, but my understanding is like maybe like say in California or whatever, you get a.
Yeah.
Like Berkeley, I think they had like a zine which dealt with like music, and then there'd be like some comics in there as well. I just don't know why people don't do that anymore. Maybe
probably because of the net.
Yeah, that's too bad. No, I did have a friend who had an underground. Publication that was kind of like that, but it was. I don't know if there were any comics in there. I just remember having writing, and just stuff like you used a copy machine, and I just like seeing people create stuff. And it seems like just this the fundraising stuff. It seems like these books end up costing so much money, and then all of my friends are it seems, are coming out with are now comic book creators, and I just can't afford to back every project. I backed yours.
Yeah.
Yours I've been interested in for a long time, but some of these guys I haven't even heard them talk about comic books until recently. And the comic books look really good, but I can't buy like 20 comic books a month from a crowd. And the crowdfund, I definitely can't buy it from.
Yeah, you can't buy 20 comic books at $20 plus shipping a month. You could go to a comic book shop and maybe buy 20 comic books a month.
Maybe
at
for like
$4 or $5 each.
$1 bin, and I probably could afford that.
Let's see. Fly Fox says, "I'm drawing my webtoon comic right now, free to read." Cool. Have you put anything up on Webtoons or wherever yet, Fly Fox? Because if you have, I'll give you a wrench to link to it for people. And everybody out there, how am I sounding tonight? Am I sounding better than normal? Is the stream going better than normal, like visually? Because I got a new router today, and I'm, interested in that sort of that.
What did you get today?
A new router.
Oh, okay. Well, you sound pretty clear. I mean, you're clearer than a lot of the people on my show. Well, maybe not. You're clearer than some of the people on my show. It should say, because I can actually hear what you're saying.
I was on with some other people just before I did my show, and normally when I have like 4 or 5 people, there's 4 or 5 people in the StreamYards. I can't hear what anybody's saying except for and I could hear everybody in the room, and it was like, wow.
Oh, that is excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. I know how much of a problem that can be. Yeah, there's one person on my show who always contributes a lot, but I have to ask that person sometimes what they said, because
let's see. Scary says a lot of these guys don't care about comics as a medium anyway. They just see a way to make a quick buck. True. For the record, I don't care about comics either. He says, audio is fine. Sounds good to me. Yeah, I was just wanting to know whether I sound better than normal, or better than what was normal for me.
I think the people who are more like hobbyists and not full time, like don't consider themselves to be pros. I think they tend to be the ones who are more likely to deliver their comic books on time and seem to have more passion for it too. Seems like if somebody does something for a living, after a while, it's kind of like, maybe for them it might be kind of like working for McDonald's or whatever. No offense if somebody out there works for McDonald's and they enjoy it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, it's like me. I would have had my book delivered on time if Indiegogo would have given me my damn money. Yeah, and I mean that in the sense they're trying, but the fact that things are not just working out in the bank way, so.
Yeah, at first I thought maybe we're still trying to perfect the colors, and I could understand that, but this thing doesn't make any sense, and it's. I mean, I definitely believe you.
Yeah.
I just don't know what they're doing with your money.
Yeah. They're not doing. They, like I said, they've tried to give it to me several times. In fact, they're trying to give it to me right this second. But unfortunately, they got the correct information to what they've asked me, but there's for some reason my bank is not processing it, and they haven't. I've contacted my bank and talked with them, and
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
yeah, and I got a little bit of information and I relate it to them, but they're saying that's not relevant. The information that I got, so
That's so odd. It should be pretty easy to just deposit money into the bank.
yeah, it's the way that they're doing it. It's called an ACH, electronic transfer, and I'm like I said, I contacted my bank. Now it's like they should be contacting my bank and finding out why. Yeah, I know they can't, say my account number and all that, blah blah blah. I get
Yeah,
that, but they can say we know it's the correct account number, we know it's the right transit number, we know it's the right all these numbers. Why would it not be working? They know how their system works better than I do.
yeah. Well, yeah. You're not going to necessarily know how their system is going to work because you're not the one who set it up.
And by their system, I mean Indiegogo system.
Yeah.
Fly Fox says, I don't know, Rick. Rick doesn't sound trustworthy to me. He is Canadian after all. Scary Bit says, I'm telling you, terroristic threats are the only thing these companies understand. DeWitt. Yeah, well. I've been telling them I'm going to be refunding my backers at the end of July, and so they better get their act together. But, I've had no response from those emails at this point.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. What makes it frustrating is knowing that I've actually completed my campaign, and I'm pretty much ready to go. Like I'll admit I've got a little bit to do to finish, but this whole stupid thing has, frustrated me, and I've got like a day and a half, if that, of work to do.
And what you did was like really impressive. Didn't you get that funded your first try too? I mean, I know you've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah. Well, the first try through Indiegogo, I can't say, because a couple of years ago, I did try through Kickstarter, but I don't really count that. I count it, but I don't count it. It wasn't a real campaign. I was only trying like in 20 days or something to do it. And then that was just because I was trying to also get money to go down to a con, which I had booked, but I didn't have the money for staying there.
But this is like the first time you really
went all out.
Yeah, he did this kind of seriously. Yeah, went all out. Yes. Well, that's cool. I think it took like maybe 3 tries for that book Brand to be funded.
Yeah.
I finally got my copies of Brand. Other people got. I got mine the other day. Some other people got theirs months ago.
Yeah.
Deals with that, but at least I got mine. So
let's see. Fly Fox says, I was so happy and proud of you to get funded, Rick. That's why it's so disappointing that they are doing it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the exact same way. It just.
I will say one. If I have to go through my website, as soon as I get $1,000 US, there'll be more money pouring in afterwards, hopefully. But as soon as I get $1,000 US, I will be starting to print everything up, and hopefully that'll be enough to get everything printed up, and then of course ship it all off.
Even for the Lorenzo perk.
Yeah. Everything, all the perks that are on my website right now are going to go on all the perks that are on the Indiegogo campaign will go on to the thing. And there's been art that's been been given out, or sort of given out to certain people, because when they back, if they still back, they will get that. What about print on demand through Amazon? Yeah, that's an idea for sure. Scary bit. I might do that afterwards, something like that afterwards, because there I could have went through. I think it's Kablam or something like that. They do the print on demand too, or one of their subsidiaries does. So. But I'd like to everybody to be able to have the stuff that they had, and also, some people wanted my signature, for the people for that to have that too. Print on demand, they're not going to get my signature.
The weird thing about signatures is, like, I've heard it's better to have it actually signed at a con.
Well, some people like that because you get to meet the person as they're signing it for you.
Oh, I'm saying, like, as far as the grading people are concerned.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
get my books graded.
Have you ever thought about Bitcoin scams to raise money? No, I have not.
Well, did you hear about the thing the other day with Bitcoin? How all those people's, like, all those celebrities' accounts were hacked or cracked, and somebody used it to promote Bitcoin, and so they had to. So every blue check mark on Twitter had their accounts temporarily kind of suspended, so they couldn't log in till Twitter could figure out what happened. They can log in now.
Yeah. Scarybot says, "Isn't a signature worthless without a witness?" Well, I guess it depends on who you are. Like, I'm sure, like, obviously, anybody getting through my campaign would trust me enough that it's me actually signing it. Although I'll probably do some sort of thing where I sign them on stream or film myself signing them.
He's talking about, like, those grading services.
Yeah.
I think he, she, or they, or whatever pronoun that individual identifies as.
Well, you're talking about a company. That's why you usually use they, because
Oh, I'm talking about the person in the chat. I didn't mean to zoom in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that you're more saying it because you don't exactly know.
Yeah, I never know anybody.
You don't know whether it's a he or a she. You're not so much trying to misgender. You're just doing it so you don't misgender them.
Yeah, it's a little confusing these days with the internet, especially.
Yeah, well, names, you can't. Well, what's in a name? What can you tell by a name?
Everybody's got, like, very a lot of people have very gender neutral names online. Like Cross Comics. I mean, from that, I mean, how would anybody really know? Unless, if they just like saw a cross and it's called Cross Comics. That could be like a entire. That could be like 100 people for all we know.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm literally shaking right now, Rick. I'm not sure. And Flyfox says, "You assume my gender too. I'm outraged." And my mom says, "Long time no hear from you, Lorenza."
That's good to see you in the chat. So I like these evening streams. They're The chat seems a little less hostile.
John's not here, right?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes he's here, and sometimes he's on the stream. He actually does have the link to come on if he wants to, but he's probably sleeping or whatever. It's hard to tell sometimes. Did I debate Dillard recently? Not really.
What was that all about?
What? What was what all about exactly?
The Dillard debate, or alleged debate that alleged.
Well, there ended up being a lot of us on this stream over on his thing about, and it was just about the Trinity in the Bible.
Oh, really? Oh, so
Yeah.
interesting.
It started over here and then ended up over on his stream after I was done. It was pretty good.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. There was some. I'm trying to remember. I'll look and see if I'm subscribed to his channel. I don't catch it very often.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't do a lot of live streams either, so.
Okay, so there was some sort of thing before between him and I, and well, no, it was between not him really. It was like between me and him or something like I. But I think him and I worked it out, or I.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it was basically me on my side. He didn't have a problem with me, but
Yeah. Things are what they are sometimes, right? Not much you can do about it.
It's
So, what was your position? I was pro Trinity. Dillard he just didn't quite understand it, or I'm not sure how to put it exactly. And it is a bit hard to understand and grasp. The 3 in 1. We've got our little people that try and describe it. Got their whole little analogies. But
yeah, it's my understanding. Yeah, it's my understanding that the Jewish people will they'll take the Holy Spirit as being just like a name for God or something.
Yeah.
Like the.
Well, you see
Or
the
title
Old
or something?
Testament. Yeah. Well, I would say the Jewish people don't really believe in the Holy Spirit, not in the way that we do.
Well, I think that they, don't they? Well, they don't they believe that it's just like an aspect of God, but not a separate person or.
Well, they probably would, and in some ways, I agree, but I don't agree. I know I believe in the 3 in 1 thing and all that, but in some ways, I can see aspect of God trying to, relate to us humans. How do you relate this infinite being that goes really beyond our comprehension? He should be beyond our comprehension because he is God. Should you be really able to comprehend God in his fullness as a measly human being?
Yeah, God being infinite.
Let's see. So, Scarebird also said it's the internet. No one's going to remember any of this here. And somebody called 100 people, for all we know, puts ahead. Not
Yeah,
sure what that.
it looks like maybe a person symbol or something. A blue person.
Yeah. And then Fly Fox says, Rick, if you want a good book on the topic, check out The Forgotten Trinity by James White.
Oh.
Oh, hopefully I don't forget that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm trying to think of the Greek word instead of person, which might be instead of like saying three persons. I think there's like a different word that was used in Greek, and then I think
Yeah.
person was like more like based on the Latin. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't. I don't think that was ever a cause of like a theological a feud. It was just I don't remember if it was Saint Augustine or who it was who.
Yeah. Like, what was I going to say? You know, the different things, you know, like in Genesis, it says, let us create God in our own image. So, you know, you have the plurality of God just in that, you know.
Hypostases is a Greek word. Not quite sure exactly. Wow, yeah, that's a little that's kind of esoteric sounding. Hypostases. Oh, and hypostasis. Oh gosh, I don't know enough. My Greek's not good enough to. That's I guess it's closer to like say substance than it is to person.
Well, and I think Fly Fox said he's going to be doing some sort of stream soon. When it have you figured out when that is, Fly Fox, or I might be thinking somebody else about going through a book. I forget which book though. If you can DM me that too.
If you want to fly Fox Pro, I can add you to the Sleestakians group. Fly Fox Pro was on the other night. I think Skinny gave Fly Fox Pro the link.
Cool. Oh yeah, if Fly Fox wants to come on. If you ever want to come on, Fly Fox, just let me know. Yeah, it's going to be in a couple weeks yet. Work is too busy.
But I can add Fly Fox Pro to the Sleestakians group if you want. I know that's a separate show. But you're in there, Rick, and so is
He says,
Skinny.
"Sure, Lorenzo, I'll join any group that will have me." Laugh out loud.
Oh yeah, Skinny's in there, and so is Rick. Hopefully, it'll allow me to. It's not allowing me to add some people before that I wanted to add.
Yeah, well, that's because maybe they've got somebody blocked that you have in there.
Yeah, I know. I tried to add Big Steve before, and then they wouldn't let me. You know, Big Steve's a good guy, but he happened to used to hang out with a certain campaign. I'll say a certain
Yeah, and see, that's
campaign
the thing.
dedicated to warfare.
Yeah,
And
I think we got it.
back then, but
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing is if you it won't let you add people that have each other blocked or one has one blocked. Fly Fox says, I'm about to get off the internet for a little bit. See you guys later. Okay, later, Fly Fox.
Take care.
Scary Bit says, joining groups is a sucker game. That's why Scary Bit rides alone. And we got somebody in the background here, probably Metal. Hey, Metal.
Oh, good to see you.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are you
I
guys
take
doing?
it you will be. I'm doing good. Got my new router today, and it last I was on a stream earlier, and it allowed me to hear everybody in the stream when I had like 3 or 4 nice and clear. When there was like 5 people in, nice and clearly. So it looks like I can have people on here, a lot of people on, and I'll be able to hear everybody, everything that's going on. Finally.
That'll be awesome.
Are you going to be drawing anything that people will
No,
see
I'm not
tonight?
drawing today.
Okay. I didn't think so, but I always ask just to be sure.
Yeah, the weird thing is people keep asking me like the theme of my own streams, and even though it's kind of like I modeled my streams off of like your stream and Manny's stream and all these other streams, and yet people seem like they don't understand. So I'm trying to get people to draw on there and try to have conversations as well.
Yeah.
It's just that I haven't been able to explain that to anybody. Because I'm trying to do something similar to what you're doing on here. I'm sorry, repeating myself.
Oh, no problem. Well, the thing is, I'm having people on to talk because otherwise, if I don't, everything's boring when I don't talk. And if there's no chat, I'm just trying to make it interesting for people,
Well, yeah, that's the idea that I got in from Manny, because he'd have people on who were artists, like comic artists, and then he also used to have some people on there who would do other things like it used to be that somebody might go on and then like do like something in a CAD cam type program, like maybe make some sort of model, I mean, of some, like
Yeah.
a 3D modeling, and he'd have that on the screen, and he'd have drawing on the screen, and maybe somebody would be doing something else and have that on the screen. But then you'd also have these people he call talkers, so that because sometimes the artists would get so busy that they, would barely say anything. And that's what I try to do with my show, but people don't seem to understand that.
Yeah, well.
Because I don't call it an art stream, they don't seem to understand. It's arts oriented. It's just it doesn't have to be somebody drawing something. It could be somebody, it could be somebody playing music or something.
Yeah, although music's hard to do on YouTube with, their their things.
And then playing their own music.
I can draw Superman and you'll never get in trouble. Or very.
Yeah. I mean,
but somebody comes along and they want to play, some famous song,
Oh yeah. I didn't mean that. I meant just people playing their own songs. Like sometimes Doug Garrett will come on and maybe play the banjo.
Yeah.
Which he's done on Doug TeNaples' stream as well. That's how I think that's how I first got introduced to Doug Garrett, was of the Lone Wolf books, is because of he was on Doug TeNaples' stream. He was promoting the first Lone Wolf book, and then he was also playing the banjo.
Cool. I'm not sure whether I asked, how are you doing tonight, Metal?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Doing all right.
Yeah. And I take it you're working on your manga.
I should be.
You should be.
I remember my computer problems from yesterday.
Lovely.
Yeah. Well, I got them fixed. through
And then
our
they restart.
and part of how I fixed it though is I had to basically reset the computer several times. It did not work. Take the first few times, and now I have to go and reinstall everything. So that's taking a while.
That's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I've had to do that several times before.
It's a good thing I back everything up.
Yeah. Well, most everything my art stuff like this is on not on the computer. It's on external hard drives that I have plugged into my computer. So store everything there. Very little gets stored on my main hard drive anymore. And you know Lorenzo, right?
Yeah.
Metal? Just making sure my guests know each other. Think always a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I know the metal if he from Good Dog Press or one of those kind of related channels.
Well, we
Or
also used
John's
to be
channel?
in the same cult at one point in time.
Huh? I'm sorry.
I said we also used to be in the same cult at one point in time.
Oh, Cult of Raven, yeah. That's where that's that was like I just remember one day I was watching.
Uh-oh.
And from there I remember back.
Scary Bitch says, I don't know Lorenzo. What's his deal? He's been a watcher of Cross Comics for a while. Almost since the beginning, I think. I'm not sure where I picked him up from. Are either of you guys talking and me not hearing it?
No, I was listening.
Okay. Just because
I think Lorenzo died.
there Lorenzo died on us.
Yeah, so what's Lorenzo's deal? Well, he's Altrusian. He says he's a sleaze stack, but I'm pretty sure he said before that he's actually an Altrusian pretending to be a sleaze stack. I'm sure he could clear that up if he ever comes back in.
Yeah, if he can, maybe his phone died or something died on him. Do you got something on? Because I think I'm hearing myself coming from your stream.
Yeah, let me fix that because for some reason, and I don't know why, my audio thing is not working.
Scary Bit says, I don't know what that means. From the land, they show the land of the lost. Okay, so he's fixing his stuff. Never heard of it.
trying
And
to.
do we have
Can you hear me now?
Alonso back? Yeah, I can hear
Sorry
you now.
about that. I'm having to use my phone to tether the internet.
Oh, lovely.
to be able to use my laptop.
It happens, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much of the story you guys heard, but so I YouTube had recommended Manny's channel to me, and one of the first times I was in there, there was a Pope Raven in the chat, and I said "Hail Raven," meaning like hi Pope Raven, and so then Joshua Hughes was like, one and messaged me. It's like, "Do you want to join the cult of Raven?" And it's like Raven was like the one character from the Teen Titans that I actually thought was cool at the time. I've since like learned more about some of the other characters, but
So you don't think Raven is cool now?
oh, I think she's cool. I just think I just think Starfire is cool as well.
I only said that because you said at the time I thought she was cool.
Well, and then I saw the 1980s big poofy hair Starfire, and she was pretty.
Well, also, if you take the whole quote into context, it was the only character at the time that I thought was cool. That was the whole context. If you don't just clip it out.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it was the character that Raven's the character that really stood out on that show for me. Starfire seemed maybe a little too nice or something all the time,
the problem is like not even reflective of actual Starfire.
Huh?
So the problem is she's not even reflective of how Starfire is in the comics, like at all.
Yeah, well, that show is not reflective of the Teen Titans at all.
Yeah, like in general.
I think a lot of,
although it's better than Teen Titans Go.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of the cult of Raven fans at the time I was a member was were, I think a lot of them were fans of the cartoon. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
maybe a little more so than the books. But I think it all varied on the individual.
Well, yeah, it probably did vary because I prefer comic Raven much more than the cartoon, even though I don't dislike the cartoon version. And you or I were in there at the same time.
Yeah, it got to the point where there were some. There's so many people got added that I didn't know who all the people were, and some of the people just had been inactive for a while, and I forgot who they were. And some
that's still the case.
People, huh?
That's still basically the case. Like I went through the member list recently just to see who was still in there, and there's like 23 people in that Twitter chat, and maybe upwards 6 to 8 of us are active, and only half of them are like really active.
And I left that chat, and then later on I got added to some sort of Raven and Jason C chat or something. I don't know. Cherry had created a chat because Bean had somebody had blocked Bean, and then Bean from PA, and then she wasn't able to be a member of the main group for a while. I think maybe she is a member of the main group now. But
yeah, I think last I checked, she was still in the chat. She just doesn't ever talk.
Yeah, it was someone from that campaign dedicated to warfare.
And then of course there's the two other things, the Discord and the actual website.
There's
the Discord.
I heard about the Discord. There's this guy who's going to be put in charge of the thing, and who was the guy? It was like Beast Boy. Somebody was calling themselves Beast Boy, but I didn't even know who the guy was.
No, there's a second Discord. We don't use that one.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Of course, nobody uses the second Discord either.
Yeah,
it's a mess.
That's what I figured. I heard there was some big argument. Wasn't that one time that Rick debated John? Wasn't that over some argument over Discord, or No, it wasn't Rick. Wouldn't have been Rick, would it?
No, not me. I don't think so.
No, there was a stream in December where he said like the death of the Cult of Raven or something like that, and a bunch of us were like on the stream. It's either December or January, sometime near the turn of the year, and it was basically just a way for people to have their grievances with Joshua because he was deleting people's messages. In
Joshua was not Rick, of course.
Yeah.
Rick went. Sorry about that, Rick. Yeah, so yeah, it was like really confusing. I thought there's just something got put in the wrong category on. Wait, Rick, do you have a Discord?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe was there an argument with John over your Discord at all?
I don't think so.
Not yet.
Okay.
Give it time though; it might happen. You know, John.
Unfortunately, I did do a little bit with my Discord, but not as much as I probably should. But then again, I'm not sure what more I can do, you know?
It's like all Discords. It's really active at the beginning, and then it just like dies down as people find other places to be active in.
Yeah. Scary Bit says, what are you guys even talking about? What, you've never heard of the Cult of Raven?
Basically inside baseball.
I literally thought that was a Raven pick.
Yeah.
The Scary Bit has. I can't.
Oh, that's
tell.
definitely like an anime. Can't super tell. It kind of looks like it could be from Full Metal Alchemist, but
What?
Scary Bit's profile pic.
Oh.
It's really tiny on my screen, so.
Yeah, it is on mine.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I was right. It was from FMA.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, and there. Well, have you checked? Have you, Lorenzo? Have you seen any of my reaction videos to a few animes out there?
I might have caught one. I don't know what's going on with
That's all over on my Pied Piper channel, not this one.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check my notifications on there. So, do you have isn't this your second Pied Piper channel?
Yeah, technically, I'm. The other one's got like 10 videos on or something like that, and
I think
a
you
lot.
Chocolate videos.
Yeah, I do. I moved all those over to the new one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, really.
I just did that so whenever I get to a point on that channel where it's 1,000 subs, which I highly doubt is going to happen anytime soon. I can monetize it, and I can have this monetized both with the same bank account and all that. Because they're under the same email.
Oh yeah, you have to do it that way these days. I remember back in the day, and all my channels are hooked up this way. You had to make a different email for every channel. You couldn't just do multiple channels under the same email, and because of that, you had to like specifically go in and link your Google AdSense account. So like, there are a bunch of different emails, but I have them all hooked up to the same AdSense account, and that's how you would get the monetization through.
Yeah,
and they're grandfathered in that way.
I tried to do that for my original Pied Piper and this one, but they wouldn't let that happen. So it's like, I want this channel, Cross Comics, more. Well, this one, I figured this one would take off more, so I was doing a lot more over here. I've got this built up a lot more than my original. So I took the AdSense off that, although I haven't put the AdSense on this one yet, but once I did that, I figured, okay, create a new Pied Piper and have it so it can get monetized over with the same email address. You know, I don't know how well that's, I'm not focused on it. I'm obviously more focused on my Cross Comics channel.
Well, I'm mad at Google. I have like $50 sitting in my AdSense account that I can't touch because I never hit 100 before they changed it to where, like they nuked everybody's monetization.
Oh.
And you have to hit 100 before you get your first payment. So that $50 is just sitting there. It's like, man, you know what I could do with that $50?
Spend it.
Yes, but what I could spend it on. Some good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way, unfortunately. Although Lorenzo was mentioning Patreon earlier, I even have a Patreon now too. I've had it for over almost a year now.
I opened up a Patreon for the Vomitorium.
Yeah.
The Vomitorium?
Oh, the Vomitorium. You haven't heard this? My podcast.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to remember. I'm going to look and see. I might be subscribed to that. I'm trying to remember if it might be one of the things I'm subscribed to, but I couldn't remember how or why or, who's.
I actually used to run this podcast like 4 years ago, and it was starting to get pretty popular at the time over on the actual podcasting networks. It never picked up on YouTube, sadly. But it was getting pretty popular. We were getting to about 4,000 plays every single week. And I think we hit 116,000 total before we had to stop.
Oh, you had to stop?
Yeah, due to all kinds of problems, equipment problems, and then moving, and it just took us forever to pick back up. And we finally started up, clean slate, started over from episode 1. I think we're on episode, 18 this tomorrow, actually, because we do it Saturdays and Wednesdays. And we're basically building the audience up, but the growth is already starting to look good. Like we're getting up, it's going up steadily. I think we're probably going to get back to where we were in maybe even half the time it took us originally.
That's excellent. I ended up on a site before. I can't even remember how I got there, and it was dedicated to. There's this. I can't remember the term, but it means like fear of vomit. And these people just would use the word. They wouldn't even write the word vomit because even writing it could cause somebody else reading it to vomit. So they would just like use like a V, and then they would like maybe put an asterisk.
So was it like vomit phobia?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Scary Bit asked why I would even name my podcast that. 1, Vomitorium is an awesome name. Okay. 2, I like the meaning. It literally means that which spews forth, which is mostly what we do on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And 3, I like the historical significance because a lot of people don't know what a vomitorium is. It is the entranceway, like that kind of like funnel hallway in between the outer area of the Coliseum and the stands, because the people kind of like spew out into the stands from it.
Oh,
That's
okay.
called the vomitorium. You see those in modern stadiums too.
So it's not at all.
Nothing to do with actual vomiting. It's the hallway spews the people forth.
That is certainly interesting.
Yeah.
So there's your answer. He says, whatever, still sounds gross.
That's okay. I lean into the fact that it sounds gross. If you've seen my layout for it, it's like a moldy bathroom wall with like holes cut into it for the videos and stuff like that. I'm going to make a newer one that actually looks like the Roman Coliseum. I just haven't had the time yet.
Huh. I'm trying to find it on YouTube, but YouTube doesn't have the best search engine.
Yeah, you just type in Vomitorium podcast, and you should see a channel
Oh,
called the Vomitorium, and it's got like a red-ish neon sign, album cover looking thing for the picture.
oh, okay. So this is So are you the one with the Live and Reloaded?
Yes, Live and Reloaded is the name of episode 1.
Okay.
Which
Oh,
I
I
named
see. You just got
after Conker's Bad Fur Days remake.
Oh, I see. So this is like you just got this going again?
Yeah. We just recently restarted it. We rebooted it from scratch. That Live and Reloaded was the reboot episode.
I knew you said you had rebooted. I didn't realize how recent it was.
Yeah, with last couple months.
Oh, okay. Because I could have sworn that I had visited it, but I didn't. But I must not have known what it was.
Probably, yeah.
Like you probably had mentioned it before. I may have even subscribed before, and then I might have unsubscribed now because I'm like, "What the heck is this?" You know. So, but I'm resubscribed. I know I'm subscribed now.
Yeah, we do it on YouTube, Twitch, and DLive all simultaneously, so people can watch on the platform that they prefer. It even uses the restream chat, so if somebody chats on one, it shows up on all 3. Right, so it's like nobody feels like they're in an isolated group. And then afterwards, I take it and I turn it into an audio file, upload it to SoundCloud, and the RSS feed scrolls it to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and a few other places.
Oh, so it is a genuine podcast as well.
Yes, yeah, it's everywhere.
That's cool. You're not just calling it that. Like, I think some people might call their shows a podcast, but I don't know if they all are nowadays. You know, or some just because there's a lot of YouTube channels that are calling themselves podcasts, and a lot of them I don't check out, like to see if they have an RSS feed or anything.
Yeah,
because I watch so much YouTube, I don't listen to as many podcasts as.
Well, and even if somebody does do a live cast or a video cast version of it, you don't even have to watch the video. You can just leave it on the background and still listen to it like it's a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, before you got into all that stuff, Scary Bit did say nothing about that sounds appealing.
Oh.
No, I don't know whether he's changed his mind.
Oh, probably not. But that's okay. Like the whole shtick about the Vomitorium is kind of like my shtick with everything. I'm kind of like an underground guy. I love the underground, like the feeling of being. I wouldn't necessarily say the word punk, but I guess punk would fall into the same category.
Well, that's kind of what. That's kind of like what I'm going for. I'm going for the DIY ethic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it should. I mean, my channel's just called Lorenzo Sleestack, but I could refer to it as the Sleestackians. That was an idea Manny came up with.
Mm-hmm.
He's no longer really. I think. I mean, like he's on vacation. I think. Kind of like spending time with his family the last few months.
Yeah, he seems to be on permanent vacation from YouTube at the moment.
Yeah, he might have like a second Skunk Girl book, but right now I think he's spending time with family, is what I'm hearing. And I didn't hear it directly from him, but I heard it from.
Yeah, I heard stuff like that directly from him. So.
Well, I'm not at all surprised because I had a feeling that he, after all that work, that he might want to take a break. And
well, heck, if I ever get fulfilled, if I'm ever able to fulfill, I'm thinking maybe taking about a week off of YouTube and then back on.
Oh, well, yeah, that would make sense. I'm not sure how you just if you take like 11 months off, that could be a bit of a problem because that's what I did, and so now a lot of the I get about half the viewers.
Yeah, we
But
just
my
go
channel's
back
actually
up.
growing as far as subscribers.
Oh, that's good.
In fact, it seemed pretty. It seemed pretty steady, even and it was even growing a little bit when I wasn't streaming. It was kind of odd.
Well, you had stuff up there, so and there's something that I'm hoping now that I've got this new router which is helping, and I can have people on and all that, and hopefully with the new computer I'm getting in just over a week. That should have been here today, but there was problems. Um, Hopefully with that, I will again be upping the production value for having people on and stuff, you know.
Well, what you need to do is as soon as you get that computer, you need to go and install TeamViewer so that if you end up having any problems, you can just give me your code and I can hop in and actually fix them.
Okay.
Huh.
Because TeamViewer lets you temporarily take control of somebody else's computer so you can actually fix things and then you can just relinquish control afterwards.
Yeah, I think I could do that for you. I think I trust you enough.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't mess with anything bad.
I could maybe even do that for Evan, too.
And those so are the Metal and Evan your two like tech guys?
Well, I guess Metal's becoming my tech guy.
I'm everybody's tech guy. Evan was everybody's tech guy first, but lately I've been fixing a lot of people's stuff. I actually just fixed my own computer. You want to talk about tech?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I couldn't get it. There's a problem with the wireless card inside of it, and I had to do some sorcery to get it working.
That's a weird thing going on where with this this Chromebook Wi-Fi card. For some reason it doesn't always recognize my router. But I don't know. I don't know if it's software related or if it's because every other device in the apartment recognizes it.
Okay.
Xbox occasionally has some problems with the router, but because Chromebook does once every few days.
Flyfox is back and says, "All right, I'm back. What I missed? You missed everything."
Oh, welcome
And yet
back.
nothing at the same time.
Space Stackians group.
And Mallet's here and saying good evening. So I will say good evening back to the Mallet one.
And I'll say good evening to him as well.
Okay, so that's two good evenings to the Mallet. So I guess that's good.
Oh, and I'd like to apologize to Mallet. I had said some unkind words a few months ago on Twitter.
Ooh, unkind words.
That was unkind.
Well, he unfollowed me like 3 times, so.
And
But
he says thank you to you all.
I actually tried to hop in and watch some of Mallet's stream before he ended, but I was too late. And I sent an ahoy there, but I accidentally sent it in all caps, and his bot immediately gave me a scolding.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the caps lock was on.
Yeah. Well, heck, that's why I went in and corrected my bots. Don't do that sort of stuff.
Oh, your game crashed. Okay. Yeah, I had it running in the background while we were streaming with it like real low, so I could still understand what you guys were saying.
Oh, that's all right, I guess.
Speaking of, I should probably retweet this stream. I haven't
You
considered.
haven't already? Now
No,
it says I have too many bots.
Have you not seen what my tag is? Late as always.
Yeah. Oh, Scarybot says this Lorenzo guy sounds like a troublemaker. Nah, Lorenzo's not a troublemaker.
I might.
He's a trouble saver. Well, it says he'll share it tomorrow. Yeah, everybody, make sure you hit the like button and share this out.
Let's make some.
Although we're half an hour, just over half an hour away from being done.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, we'll time you.
Go.
Mallet says Rick is. He's trying to say I'm a troublemaker.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm a troublemaker. I just like to be discreet about it.
I can be. I usually choose not to be. Unless I'm, punning, of course. Then I might like to stirp a little stuff.
Yeah.
Or
Now, Mallet is definitely not a troublemaker. But there was this JP guy I used to know, and he was a real troublemaker. But it's a good thing he's not around anymore.
Mallet says, "Oh, Skedibut is here, and Demeto." And Mallet says, "Yeah, he was a jerk, JP."
Yeah, but this Malachi, he's all right. He's good in my book.
Although he doesn't quack me up.
I think you're thinking of Mallards.
Oh. Mallards.
Yeah.
That's the
You
difference.
didn't quite hit that one on the head.
Yeah, Chad's here. Hey, Chad. He says, "Sup, Chad and friend," or "Sup, Rick and friends." Not much. I am just coloring some of my alternate versions of the Canadian Shield. Right now. Although I finished coloring one.
I think so far I've only ever made alternate versions of the Canadian Shield. Since the one drinking the syrup was definitely way too small to be the actual Canadian Shield.
Yeah, and that's the only one you've done, right?
Well, then I also did the one for your contest where I did the gender bend.
Oh, yeah. Scary, but it says Mallet is more like a trouble architect. He just designs the trouble. Other people actually make it.
Yeah, I could see like someday in the future that Mallet would just have like robotics doing all the trouble for him.
Yeah.
Okay, see you later, Mallet.
Okay, later, Mallet.
Bye, Mela. Take care.
Okay, Rick, I got a question for you.
No.
Who would win in a fight? The Canadian Shield or a slightly more Canadian Shield?
Okay, what is that supposed to mean exactly?
Well, the other shield is just slightly more Canadian.
How does something like make somebody slightly more Canadian?
I don't know. You're the Canadian. You tell me.
Well, I have no idea what would make somebody more Canadian or less Canadian. Well, actually, I do know.
Maybe he was born in a time where he'd have natural Canadian citizenship.
Well, technically, he would. My Canadian Shield would. Yeah, I know how you're less Canadian. You're Justin Trudeau, and you're trying to, give away Canada to China.
Ooh, yeah, that would do it. But I don't think that applies to either of your shields. So what would make the other one more Canadian?
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Mallets, I do have a reputation as a pot stirrer. So, Scary Butt says Canadian Shield versus the Quebecois Shield. Well, I think that's what he's trying to say anyway. So.
Oh, if that's the case, then the Canadian Shield beats it.
Yeah. Fly Fox says, well, if they are from Newfoundland, then they're less Canadian. Eagle's here. Hello, Eagle. Again, I don't know whether that would qualify to make somebody less Canadian. See, I have to know what makes somebody less Canadian. But then again, is this one Canadian Shield versus this lesser Canadian Shield wearing a suit that is lesser in power?
I didn't say lesser. I said it was slightly more Canadian.
Okay. Then are they wearing
What is Canadian though? I've been watching some YouTube videos lately trying to figure out, and there's like nobody like in the Quebec area. There's like some really hardcore people who think the French language is a big important thing to Canada, to some people in Quebec, but then, or is it Quebec? But then there's some people who think that everything should be kind of postmodern and there's no Canadian identity.
Well, I think he's got to be very polite, that's for sure.
Chad says they're less Canadian if they vote for Justin.
But are Canadians really polite? Or do they just seem polite until they get on the hockey, not field, but the ice?
Rink.
In the hockey rink, yeah. I know there's an actual code, though, to hockey fighting that, like, if people did this or that, they'd get their hind end.
Oh, it's very polite fighting.
Let's see. Scarabit says, Rick's trouble pronouncing Quebec. I have trouble pronouncing that, but I have no trouble pronouncing Newfoundland. That's how it's pronounced. I'm Canadian, I know. Makes me question his Canadianness.
Is this pronounced Newfoundland?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he's technically saying it right. It's just depending on where you're from. I've heard people stress different parts of the word differently. Like where you put the stress on the syllable changes depending on region.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of
I've heard people say Newfoundland.
So it's kind of like New Orleans versus New Orleans?
Yeah. If you're actually from there, it's New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot that. That's actually more correct than either of the two that I said.
Quebecois.
You
don't even know what the word. Are you seeing the word to know how I'm saying it right, Mom, or not?
I'm sure she knows the word.
Come here, mother.
Looking at the word and that it is French, I'm pretty sure she's right. That looks like Quebecois.
Come look at the darn word.
I did.
Oh, you're on the.
Yeah.
She's on the chat out in the other thing. Well, then I pronounced it right the first time when I.
Your show, Rick.
Well, I thought she was just watching it on the TV. She's watching it on the other computer. Then I pronounced it right the first time when I said Quebecois.
Quebecois. All French-like.
I just didn't know about the qua or if it was K or something like that. Or probably some third pronunciation because I can't pronounce things right. Not the regional names for things.
Making me question my.
I can't even pronounce the name of my own county. I believe it's like Grand Traverse. But I can't speak French, you know. It's the whatever French was around in what's now Michigan.
Mm.
Well, that is probably real French.
Yeah, not like what they speak.
Yeah, but there's all sorts of French languages.
Yeah, like I mean,
In France,
French from France is real French. We here in Canada do not have real French.
No. You've got the thing that's kind of like French, but then the people got drunk and slurred all over it.
Yeah.
Well, all these different regions of France have different ways of speaking. So there's like with that Provençal. I can't pronounce that.
And all of them are more legitimately French than what they speak in
there's
Quebec.
like Occitan or I think was it OCCI, maybe TON or is it TAN? I mean,
those are different. You're talking about the different dialects over in France.
Well, they're actually different.
All,
they're actually so different. They might be considered languages.
No, they're just dialects.
Well, I'm talking about like some of them are closer to say what they speak in like Barcelona. Like that Occitan, or I'm sure I butchered that. That's closer to Catalan, from Catalonia.
Yeah, but it's still functionally French.
But so it's Spanish.
Oh wait, no, you said Occitan, right?
Yeah.
One
can see
that actually is a different language.
If you speak like
I couldn't tell what you were spelling before.
Like my late brother somehow was able to go to France and he somehow, I can't remember how he somehow would modify his Spanish and then somehow French people could understand enough of what he was saying to for him to do business in the stores.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
those are considered even mutually intelligible languages, but somehow he found them to be close enough that he could somehow.
Yeah, well, French and Spanish are very close.
They're both romantic languages. Well, even the Occitan is another romantic language. It's just a unique one.
I mean, that's what I meant is all these Romance languages are related. It's just like some of them are going to be more like somebody speaking Romanian. That might be kind of, I don't know if a Spanish speaker is going to understand that all that well.
Yeah.
Or
and it's also because Romanian has it's not purely romantic. It's got Slavic influences on it too.
Yeah, exactly. Yiddish is kind of interesting in that it does seem that's like high. A lot of people think it's like Hebrew, but it's actually High German, like an older form of High German, but as spoken by Jewish people who then added instead of maybe using Latin or something as the prestigious language to borrow words from. There's a lot of words from Hebrew. I'm not saying there's no words from Latin, but you probably are. But so all these prestigious, all these the more I think with a lot of them, the more technical terms, they're from Hebrew.
Yeah,
and then there's Slavic.
One of my favorite fields of study is linguistics.
Yeah.
and the history of linguistics, because I like history, and you can't study history without studying language, because the things are intertwined with each other.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There were parts of the Roman Empire that would use Greek, like in some of the eastern parts of the empire. In my understanding, that was like the language of the educated people. They would speak Greek.
Well, what we now call ancient Greek, right? Which is even the same type of Greek that is in the Bible. It is a derivative from what we know today. But most of what they spoke in the early Roman Empire, the educated, would be known as the language of the Macedonians, because that was the last actual Greek empire. There was never actually a place called Greece until the modern day country was formed.
Yeah, I know Germany used to be a number of different nation states, and that's what I don't know if like was it like von Bismarck? Was he trying to go and unify things? And then the certain World War II guy, I won't say his name, on YouTube.
Well, the main unification of Germany, the main unification of Germany came under Charlemagne, which is what we know as the Holy Roman Empire.
And he was a Frank. I'm probably not saying that correctly.
Okay, let's just catch up with the chat. Scary Bit says Scary Bit says now I have a new goal: gaslighting Rick about his Canadianness. And then he said the Octane thing is a separate language. Chad says, "Mwahaha." Chad says, "Mwahaha." The French. Scary Bit says it has many dialects within it. Fly Fox says the Greek in the Bible is Koine Greek. And then Chad says, what you guys think on Tom King's Rorschach sequel miniseries? I don't know much about it, so I can't really speak on it.
Yeah, I think it could go either way. Because historically, Tom King actually has been a good writer if you go past, like in the past before the last 5 years, where everything's been going downhill. Or I guess 2014 is when it started. But you go into his past, and he wrote good stories. He has the capacity to be a good writer. And some, like myself, have theorized that it was Dan DiDio's influence that was actually causing him to write so poorly. And DiDio left recently, so we'll see if through this series he can return to being a good writer, or if that influence was permanent or not. It's just a toss-up.
Fly Fox says, pronounced close to coin.
Yeah. That's I think it means common, like vulgar Latin. Well, vulgar actually means
there's common. Actually no such thing as vulgar Latin, right? And this is what I was going to say before I was going to bring it up, because there's technically no such thing as Latin. It's a name that we use for it, but the Roman people of the time would have been calling it Romani, right? So you had Latin Romani and Vulgar Romani, which Cicero, that's how you're supposed to say his name. It was pre-Octavian, it's not Cicero. Cicero even wrote himself that Latin Romani was basically the grammatically correct or the upper society version of it, proper Roman language. And Vulgar Romani is what the commoners would speak.
Yeah. Fly Fox says, no, not a.
And then the Vulgate, that was a Latin version that, and there had been previous Latin translations of the Bible, but St. Jerome came up with that one, with that translation. Mm-hmm. And then just vulgar, and again, it's just vulgar as in, Vulgate means common.
Mm-hmm. I actually have been on a stream, what Scary Bit says, with Chester Busby before. And we actually didn't talk about history or anything at all. I would love to. I'm sure me and him would have a very fun conversation.
Yeah.
I'm always talking in the chat about stuff, and he loves the random things that I say. I just don't get on the stream very often.
I'm always learning, and always just trying to learn about history. I learned more about American history in school, but a lot of that had to do with like memorizing like a timeline. And later on as an adult, I started learning more about history, but Oh, I see.
It's good to learn from history because those that do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Scary But says it'd be 2 hours of actually. Yeah, it would probably definitely be fun to see those two.
Well, I think for the most part,
term.
when you get to a higher form of knowledge base, like when you're talking to other people who have a large knowledge base, you kind of already know where the limits of your knowledge are. And instead of like people constantly correcting each other, you'll occasionally get it. But usually you just bounce off of each other and take your strong points. I've had a lot of like higher end conversations like that before.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've had a few of those. I have a lot of knowledge, but I don't have a lot of knowledge. If that makes any sense at all.
No, it makes a lot of sense. For the most part, I would say the same thing. I have a wide breadth of categories that I know stuff of, but I'm not very deep in a lot of them. So I'm not a specialist. I'm a
jack of all trades, as they say.
Kind of, yeah. There's a certain rule, a certain word for interscholastic studies. I'm spacing on it at the moment.
Yeah.
And I actually think, for the most part, Chester's the same way.
Yeah. He says, "Oh well, I'm sorry, we're so lowbrow here."
No, we have good conversations, especially when we start getting into the realm of biblical studies, where we get to where Rick actually has a
little bit more
of knowledge in.
Yeah. I used to have a pretty good grasp of all the techno junk, but unfortunately I haven't kept up with it, so for about the last 10, 15 years. But I can, sort of get on it. If I ask the right questions, I can usually figure out what somebody's talking about.
I think I get in a lot of trouble just for using the wrong terminology. For like, I mean, like I'll talk to someone like, say, not to get too political, but say on the conservative side of things, and some people on the left might think, oh, that means that he's believes exactly this way or that way just because I use certain terminology that people understand. Or it's the same way you talk to if I start using some left-wing terminology, conservatives might get the wrong idea. And I think it's the same with like what happened with religion too, because like some of the splits that happen in Christianity between there were these people called the Oriental Orthodox, and they split off from the Eastern Orthodox Church, and actually the rest of Christianity over the difference between the word nature. Well, the word nature I think meant one thing, and one city meant something else in Alexandria.
It's specifically the Greek word nature, right? Because the Greek word for nature that's used has two different main meanings. And within the context, they could not decide which of the two meanings was the one in the Bible. One believed it one way, and then
say that Christ was. Both sides believe that Christ is fully God and fully man. They just couldn't agree whether it was one nature or two natures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they both understood each other's position as being something that it wasn't.
Oh, he wants to respond to Dillard.
John's hearing saying, "Why so much buffering? I have no idea." And who's this racist caricature? Not a racist caricature. It's just an alternate version of the Canadian Shield that I did on John and Quarter fan edition when they did the Canadian Shield. And Dylan says, "Shut up, nerds." You both sound ignorant.
I think that's kind of some projecting on John's behalf.
Yeah. And then he says, "Sup, chat," and Chad also said, "Dillard's in the chat." So, go back to talking, guys. If you can remember what you were talking about.
Schisms.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was just both sides believe that Christ is both fully God and fully man. It's just they started arguing over their terminology, like over just like their way of trying to explain it, their theological formula or whatever one calls it. And then I think a lot of there was like a conference and there with Eastern or Orthodox and Oriental Orthodox theologians, and now the people there at that forum, they reached an agreement that they were both talking about the same thing, just using different ways, but different local bishops will decide whether or not those people can receive communion. You know, I mean, like, see the Oriental Orthodox and the Eastern Church, Orthodox Church, or the Eastern Orthodox receiving. I think it's up to the individual bishop. I don't know.
Which is crazy because I'd say if you believe you're a Christian, then you should be taking communion, and it shouldn't be up to no bishop.
I think it's kind of silly to deny someone communion over like a different definition of a word. But like both sides seem to think that the other side's.
Well, if you think that's silly, you should start looking at the stuff that the Catholic Church has historically excommunicated people for.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there was a time when the Crusaders went and like I guess they took the wrong turn or something, and they ended up in Constantinople, and they raided Constantinople, and where the Eastern Orthodox ecumenical patriarch is. And so, oh boy, so then they excommunicated. Then both sides like excommunicated each other's patriarchs. So the Patriarch of Rome, or the Pope of Rome, got excommunicated from the Orthodox Church, and he had gone to excommunicate the Orthodox patriarch, but then I think maybe the Pope died or something in between. So nowadays it might not be. I think nowadays the Catholic Church has undone the excommunication of the Orthodox Church, but not vice versa.
I think nowadays, looking at the total tool who's in charge of the Catholic Church, he probably has reversed the excommunication on everybody.
I'm going to kind of disavow.
Let's see. John said, "I guarantee that neither of these nerds have ever met Jesus. Rick is the only one here with a personal relationship with Christ." But you don't know that, John. Maybe they just haven't said so one way or another. And Scary Bit says Dillard with the fat. No, sorry, Chad said that. Dillard with the facts. Scary Bit says, "I feel like I want to excommunicate myself from this stream." And Model puts up a thinking face. And we're caught up with the chat.
Oh, hey, Model.
I've been catching a lot of Model streams. He's been doing some good work. I enjoy him. Though, while I enjoy it, I think that Jazz is killing literally everyone else.
Jazz music?
Mm-hmm. He's just looking for stuff that he could play that's like not going to get copyright strikes and stuff like that. Not get a stream killed.
Well, why didn't I try to pronounce your last comment? Which one? The last comment I have you saying, Fly Fox, is not a. And I did try and pronounce that back then.
Which is how you say it in India. Queen.
Why? Let's see. Dylan says, "Why is the church so cool that people want to not to be excommunicated?" Jazz is where it's at. Says model and Fly Fox saying maybe it censored me. I think it did, except trumpet. Except trumpet. I hate trumpet. Freeform jazz is the worst music to ever exist. That's right. I said it. Says Scary Bit.
I like Sun Ra, but he wasn't really free form. I think his stuff was pretty. What would you pretty much like a compositions? I mean, with some improvisation, but
if you want to DM me whatever comment you said, I will go look at my DMs, Fly Fox, and read it from there.
I think Sun Ra would be like avant-garde, but not freeform. I like some avant-garde jazz, like some more experimental stuff. But the freeform stuff, some of it sounds like the musicians are in different rooms and can't hear each other or something. It's like
Model says only one jazz song has ever been written. That's probably true.
Yeah. Let's see. Dylan says, "I watched The Aristocrats by Disney. That makes me an expert on jazz." Chad says,
Aristocrats is a great movie.
Yeah. Chad says, "I didn't see your comment, Fly Fox." Lady Celtic Moon says, "Well, guys, I was here now. I'm gone. Later, folks." Okay, later. Lady Celtic Moon, thanks for stopping by.
He's really cool. I've seen in other chats.
No, it's weird. Sometimes YouTube won't even flag a comment for a mod to do it. They'll just neuter it. It's gone. Nobody can see it.
They even delete mods comments too, because a friend of mine was replying to someone who had commented on their channel, and YouTube just deleted it. Some real lengthy response that he couldn't retype. I doubt they said why. Knowing YouTube.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't send certain messages.
Yeah, there's some people that I type in their name and they won't, and YouTube won't, or the person, or I don't know if it's blocked in someone's channel or what, but I can't type in one person's name because it has the word redneck in there. I have no idea why the word redneck would be banned.
Let's see. Fly Fox said, "Laugh out loud. It's censored. It's censored theological words about whether Jesus was of the one substance with the Father, or whether he was one of similar essence." Oh yeah.
Censored. Huh.
I think it's because it sounds it's similar to another word.
Huh.
Homoousios versus another way of saying homoousios.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I hope you guys know what those words are, because I have no idea.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Greek theological word. I mean, it has to do with oh gosh, I think it's substance. I think oh god.
You could have been talking about milk for all it knew. It
has a different
homogenized milk.
word. It has a different meaning in science.
As long as it's not heterogeneous milk.
A lot of these words have theological meanings, and then they have a scientific meaning that's actually different, used differently. So, hypostatic union, from the Greek hypostasis, and I know I'm butchering the word. Sediment, foundation, substance, subsistence is a technical term in Christian theology employed in mainstream Christology. So I think with the study, it would be having to do with the Trinity, or having to do with Christ, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ's nature, like, I think would be like Christology, to describe the union of Christ's humanity and divinity in one hypostasis or individual existence. Wow. That was from Wikipedia.
John.
Gives me kind of a headache trying to think about that.
John says, "Isn't the theme song for Riggs and Murtaugh the only jazz song ever made?" Dylan does a dab. Scary Bit says, "Fly Fox was probably saying something racist anyway." Dylan does a whole bunch of gasping faces. Dylan then says, "Racism is bad." My mom says, "Bye for now," and God bless everyone. And
God bless.
Fly Fox says, "It doesn't like the word HOMO." Dylan says, "Homosex, awful." Then Dylan says, "If you type gay stuff, they, of course, allow it."
Oh, Dylan's calling you on time.
So, were we supposed to call it the gay stasis now to get around censorship? Or I'm not sure I'm happy using that sort of theological term. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm not gonna say God got a sexual orientation.
And then Metal says in the chat, Dillard wants the homosex. Then Dillard says, "It's midnight, end the show." Well, I will after I say, yeah. You want to promote anything, Lorenzo?
Lorenzo Sleestack, of course. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I'm trying to stream at least once, at least every week on Thursdays, and I've been experimenting with other days too.
Cool. Metal?
Yes. Go to xtimeschaos.com, go to the shop, find my novel, click on it, and it'll bring you to Amazon. Buy my book.
Cool. Let's see. So I guess on me now. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming out on the panel and participating. Thank you everybody for coming out in the chat as well and participating. It's good having you all out. I guess we will see you on Monday now. And the last two comments in the chat where Chad said Jews is censored. And okay, I guess we got 4 now. Model says, "I am tortillous sexual." Dillard says, "Yes, I would like to promote my OC, the Canadian Shield." And Metal says, "Pronounce the burritos and tacos or tortillos." I'm not sure how I pronounce that.
Taquitos, I think.
And Fly Fox says, "Adios," and then Dylan
Adios.
says the racist one. And then Scary Bit says, "Oh no, Rick is talking about the juice again." So bye everyone. Have a great night. God bless. We'll see you later.
God bless.
And if you want me to shut it down, stop commenting.